Okay, let's dive into this explainer. Cast your mind back to the year 2000. The dreaded Y2K bug had just turned out to be a massive dud. The internet was still buzzing with that glorious screeching dial-up sound. And email was this incredibly exciting, shiny new novelty. Getting a notification actually felt like receiving a hand-delivered present. We're looking at the exact historical moment when that pure, innocent excitement was totally weaponized. We're breaking down a digital disaster that proves one somewhat hilarious, kind of humbling truth: we are all incredibly gullible if you just promise us a little bit of romance.
Just picture it. You're a regular office worker in May of 2000. You're sitting at your chunky beige desktop monitor, sipping your morning coffee, and an email pops up. The attachment? loveletterforyou.txt.vbs. The immediate pop process is exactly what ran through the minds of literally millions of people. Finally, my secret admirer from accounting is making a move. Someone out there actually loves me. But, yeah, they didn't. This wasn't Cupid knocking at the door. It was a globally devastating trap, perfectly disguised as affection.
So, that brings us to Section 1, the ultimate digital crush.
This is basically a rom-com gone horribly wrong. The I love you virus, or the love bug, spread at speeds totally unprecedented at the time. And it wasn't because of some uncrackable, hyper-advanced alien code. It spread because of our desperate human desire for connection. According to research from Denison University, this was an absolute masterclass in social engineering. The code itself was remarkably simple. It wasn't a digital ninja picking complicated locks. Actually, scratch that. It was more like it just walked right up to the front door, knocked, and held out a bouquet of digital flowers. People back then just didn't know they needed to be suspicious of an email from a complete stranger declaring their undying love.
Moving on to Section 2, Anatomy of a Broken Heart.
And this brilliantly illustrates the cold, unfeeling reality of malware. Research from UC Davis provides a fascinating, ruthless breakdown of exactly what happened under the hood once that fateful love letter was clicked. It goes in 4 main routines. Step 1, that Visual Basic script executes the literal second you click it, expecting a sweet love note. Step 2, it immediately hijacks the Windows scripting host, effectively grabbing the steering wheel of your computer. Step 3, it mercilessly overwrites your files, destroying your data without a second thought. And finally, Step 4, it manipulates the system registry to embed itself permanently. It was a perfectly designed machine completely devoid of the romance it promised. And the real kicker? It then grabbed your address book and sent the exact same love letter to everyone you knew. A true betrayal.
Which leads us to Section 3, $10 billion breakup.
$10 billion. Just sit with that absolutely massive figure for a second. $10 billion in global damage because of a fake love letter. The sheer scale is mind-boggling. We are talking about the Pentagon being brought to its knees, the CIA pulling the plug on their mail servers, the UK Parliament completely disconnected. The most powerful, highly secured institutions in the entire world were paralyzed because someone, somewhere in the chain of command, really wanted to see who was flirting with them.
An official historical report from DTIC, that's the Defense Technical Information Center, details just how widespread this destruction was. These weren't just temporary little glitches. These were systemic network failures across the Department of Defense, the CIA, and major multinational corporations. The DTIC report emphasizes that the virus served as a massive, incredibly expensive wake-up call. It forced major government-wide and institutional improvements in cybersecurity. The era of implicitly trusting digital communications was dead and buried, quickly replaced by a critical need to totally overhaul how massive networks protected themselves.
Finally, Section 4. Patching the global heart.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how you actually move on from a $10 billion betrayal. Mostly therapy and a lot of fierce academic debate. Research from Georgia Tech documents the absolute chaos this caused in classifying the threat. Was it a virus, which generally needs human action to spread, or was it a worm, which travels across networks entirely on its own? Well, I Love You completely blurred the lines. It needed that initial gullible human click, the social engineering aspect, but once activated, it behaved exactly like a worm. This fierce debate shows how the incident fundamentally shifted how the whole world approached digital defense. And that legacy absolutely continues to shape our world today. A 2023 paper by Aslan and colleagues highlights that malicious code didn't just stop, it adapted. The simple tricks from the year 2000 spurred a rapid evolution in evasion techniques. According to this modern research, traditional firewalls and basic access control lists simply fail against modern sophisticated threats today. Why? Because attackers learned exactly how to bypass our technical defenses by targeting the user directly. Synthesizing those sociological insights from Denison University with the modern warnings from the Aslan paper leaves us with one final very provocative question. If modern protection systems still fail against human psychology, who is the real vulnerability? We can build the absolute strongest firewalls in the world, update our access controls, and map out every single registry manipulation. But as long as human beings are sitting behind the keyboard, armed with curiosity, a desire for connection, and just a little bit of gullibility, well, the front door will always be left wide open. Thank you for exploring this with me today in our explainer, and remember, if a stranger's email says it loves you, it is definitely a trap.